Riding definitely provides an escape for me. It provides that ability just to be able to be alone with my thoughts. And you can actually achieve this state of Zen where you're concentrating on the road, you're only concentrating on what's in front of you, and yet your mind is working things out while you're doing it. It's really hard to describe, but it is very Zen-like. I love living in California. It's just a remarkable place to live. There's so much to do. If you're an outdoors person, you've got every form of activity, and you've got it year-round. There's very, very few days or periods where you can't go out and enjoy a motorcycle ride. What I like the most about riding up Highway 1, the stark beauty and the contrast between the ocean and the mountains. You've got windswept coastal oaks and poppies and lupin on one side, and then you've got sheer cliff dropping off into the vast Pacific on the other. Every once in a while you might look out and see a whale sign, a spout coming up, or a pod. One time I pulled into Gorda, which actually has a little cafe called Whale Watcher Cafe. And there were a lot of people that were lined up on the odd side of the road looking down into the ocean. And so I pulled my motorcycle over, and here was a pod of humpback whales. There must have been 12 of them, and they were feeding in unison. And it was the most spectacular thing I'd ever seen. But just the riding itself, it's never the same. It's very challenging. It's very dangerous. And it's just awe-inspiring, especially if you're a motorsports enthusiast. I did lose both my parents in 2018. My father went March 1st and my mother went June 2nd. When I was 10 years old, we went on a trip around the United States, me, my mom, my dad, and my brothers, 5 years older than me, pulling a camper behind a 1972 Chevy Kingswood station wagon. We were on this trip for 41 days, and we went all the way up to the Canadian border, went all the way to New York, came back down, went through Louisiana and Texas, and even at 10, I remembered a good portion of that trip. When I was clearing out my parents' property after they had passed, I saw this old Paisley notebook that was in my mother's dresser. And when I saw just the edge of it sticking out from underneath her sundry items, I recognized it immediately. And it was a notebook that my mom kept on this trip. And she kept a daily journal, every day what we did, what we saw, and then a little expense account at the end of each day, which was quite entertaining. Ice, 15 cents, 2 lobster rolls in Maine, $2.50 a piece. I've always used riding as a little bit of therapy. It's my release, and after my parents died, I would go on quite a few rides just to go out and be alone with my thoughts. And I got the idea that I've always wanted to go around the United States on my motorcycle to kind of relive that trip. I decided that I was going to do a fundraising trip around the United States for 41 days. It encompasses 23 states, 2 borders, and 3 coasts. It's amazing how many people have been touched by Alzheimer's. It is just a vicious, profound disease that I cannot wait for the day that they find the cure for it. So in a lot of ways, the motorcycle riding has been therapeutic. It's also been a catalyst to help me maybe achieve some of the things that I want to do as I'm getting older and crossing things off my bucket list, so to speak.
I used to ride with Charles when I first met him, and we'd go riding a lot of different places, and I feel like it helps him, like it's a time for him to reflect on things and center himself and, de-stresses anything. It kind of takes any problems he has and he's able to process it, and just the riding, he just gets zoned into this Zen moment.
Riding definitely provides an escape for me. It provides that ability just to be able to be alone with my thoughts. You can actually achieve this state of Zen, or where you're concentrating on the road, you're only concentrating on what's in front of you, and yet your mind is working things out while you're doing it. It's really hard to describe, but it is very Zen-like, and it's very therapeutic. That every time I come back from a ride, I feel like I've purged a lot of anxiety. My thoughts are quieter and stiller. So in and of itself, riding is a therapy. The fundraising event that I'm hosting is called Our Grand Tour. And And you can find that on the Longest Day portal within the alts.org website.
That was a wrap.
Cut!